Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, your trusted source for precise updates on global currency movements, revaluations, and pivotal economic events that could reshape financial destinies. In today's coverage, we bring you a major development surrounding the Vietnamese dong VND, a transformation that's no longer a distant speculation, but a confirmed financial reality. According to multiple verified sources and public disclosures, the revaluation of the Vietnamese dong is officially underway as of the current date in the USA. This shift isn't just happening quietly, it's receiving backing at the highest institutional levels. Statements from both the State Bank of Vietnam and the Ministry of Finance confirm that the VND revaluation process is now active. Currency desks in major hubs such as Dubai, Singapore, Frankfurt, and U.S. financial districts are already reporting early-stage redemption flows. The Vietnamese dong is trading within a stabilized range between $0.04 and $0.05 USD. This isn't a floating rate. It's a precisely controlled price band designed to safeguard liquidity, minimize underground market manipulation, and maintain systemic balance throughout the rollout. Vietnam's journey to this point didn't happen overnight. It's the product of more than a decade of preparation, bolstered by targeted infrastructure spending, modernized monetary regulations, aggressive international trade strategies, and comprehensive digital reforms. The current valuation isn't based on speculation, it's rooted in fundamental macroeconomic progress and intentional structural reform. To ensure that the revaluation is implemented smoothly, Vietnam has established a multi-tiered system for participation. The first tier operates at the sovereign level, with adjustments between central banks and national reserves. Tier 2 includes large institutional entities such as licensed brokers, wealth funds, and private investors, who are executing discrete transactions under regulatory oversight to preserve stability. The third and most significant tier focuses on private holders of Vietnamese dong. These public-level redemptions are now available, but only via pre-arranged appointments at government-approved redemption centers. These centers are currently functioning in the US, Canada, Germany, Australia, and select Gulf countries. Strict eligibility criteria apply: biometric identification, know your customer, KYC, document history are all mandatory. Walk-ins are strictly prohibited. Only those who've cleared the full vetting process are being granted entry. Security protocols around these redemptions are exceptionally tight. For high-volume conversions, armored transport is required and exchange rates are locked in at the time of appointment, not afterward. A lack of documentation or failure to meet the requirements may result in delays or outright exclusion. This is not a loose, informal rollout. It's a professionally designed framework that's being implemented with oversight and precision. Vietnam's digital infrastructure is playing a pivotal role in this revaluation phase. Real-time monitoring systems, encrypted ledgers, and advanced verification tools have all been integrated into the redemption process. Domestic banks such as Vietcombank and VIDV are overseeing implementation on the ground, while also coordinating with international financial partners in New York, Dubai, and Hong Kong. Every transaction is logged, authenticated, and cross-checked to ensure compliance at every level. Vietnam's ascent to this stage represents a remarkable financial evolution, from a post-war recovery economy to a thriving export and manufacturing hub. The nation has demonstrated sustainable trade surpluses and steady foreign investment inflows. These underlying gains are now being reflected in the revalued dong, and for long-term holders of the currency, the moment of payoff has officially arrived. The architecture of this revaluation reflects a broader financial philosophy, one that prizes method over speed. Unlike chaotic currency resets of the past, Vietnam has crafted a deliberate and resilient roadmap. From rate governance and biometric protocols to strict scheduling systems and KYC enforcement, every layer has been designed to maintain order. This isn't a reactive move. It's the final phase of a comprehensive 10-year national policy aimed at integrating Vietnam into the global financial elite. This strategy is already gaining international recognition. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has commended Vietnam's revaluation plan, calling it one of the most strategically sound and responsibly executed monetary realignments in recent history. This isn't praise based on optimism. It's rooted in observed performance and policy discipline. As the DON's new rate is gradually absorbed into global trade contracts, nations are recalibrating prices, renegotiating import-export clauses, and updating interbank settlement systems to reflect the shift. For private holders of VND, the urgency is clear. Begin by confirming the authenticity of your notes through recognized verification channels. Then locate a certified redemption facility in your jurisdiction. Avoid unauthorized centers. They are outside the structured framework and may not be recognized under current compliance standards. Schedule your appointment early. Walk-ins will be denied access regardless of documentation. And perhaps most critically, seek qualified legal and financial guidance before proceeding. Depending on your country of residence, tax implications, asset classification laws and reporting obligations can differ significantly. Failing to comply with local statutes could turn an opportunity into a legal liability. Know what applies in your region before initiating your redemption. Vietnam's leadership is approaching this revaluation not as a one-off adjustment but as a cornerstone of its broader national development plan. With the currency reset underway, new fiscal strategies are being introduced to ensure the gains translate into long-term domestic benefits. Infrastructure improvements are being prioritized, especially in logistics, transportation, and digital connectivity, to support future economic resilience. Simultaneously, new development incentives are being offered to real estate and energy sectors, helping to redirect capital into growth-focused areas. Public compensation structures are also under review. The government is adjusting salaries within the civil sector to reflect the VND's enhanced value and protect purchasing power. This includes recalibrated wage brackets, pension realignments, and revised social assistance thresholds to maintain economic equilibrium as the revaluation matures. Vietnam is also refining its sovereign wealth strategy, intending to allocate a portion of its surplus reserves into high-yield global assets such as infrastructure projects, clean energy, and stabilized property markets abroad. This disciplined and methodical approach separates Vietnam's revaluation from the more erratic currency resets of the past. By focusing on structured reform rather than abrupt policy shifts, Vietnam is providing a model for emerging economies navigating similar aspirations. The current effort is more than a revaluation, it's a redefinition of Vietnam's financial standing in global markets. It proves that with governance, planning, and regulatory cohesion, a previously marginalized currency can rise to international credibility. Vietnam's economic partners are adjusting accordingly. Multinational corporations with supply chains rooted in Southeast Asia are recalculating their operations to reflect the VND's new pricing power. This includes rewriting contracts, updating tariffs, and reconfiguring logistics networks to maintain pricing competitiveness and cost accuracy. Manufacturing conglomerates, energy companies, and transport firms are leading the way, reshaping their accounting frameworks and financial disclosures to align with the new valuation. This recalibration also affects banking, insurance, and investment firms operating in or through Vietnam. Financial models are being revised to reflect capital flow changes, currency hedge mechanisms are being updated, and cross-border lending terms are being reconsidered to preserve margin integrity. All of this underscores that the VND's transformation is more than numerical. It is a shift in how Vietnam interacts with and influences the global financial infrastructure. If you are a VND holder, your current decision-making is pivotal. Beyond verifying your notes and scheduling an appointment, it is essential to understand the broader implications of your redemption. Financial professionals recommend consulting with tax experts who understand capital gains regulations specific to currency conversions. Misclassifying your redemption can trigger tax penalties or audit flags. particularly if you are exchanging a high volume of currency. Make sure all documentation is accurate, all paperwork is complete, and that you retain copies of every form processed. Another layer to consider is post-redemption asset management. In some jurisdictions, large currency conversions must be reported to national financial authorities, especially if the funds are later transferred into bank accounts, investment portfolios, or real estate purchases. Tracing the funds and documenting their legal source is key to avoiding potential freezes or investigations under financial security laws. Again, preparation is the differentiator between seamless execution and costly complications. Vietnam's decision to rely on biometric entry, digital timestamps, and encrypted validation systems further solidifies its intent to prevent fraud and enforce policy compliance. Most Tier 3 redemption centers are equipped with retina or fingerprint scanners, facial recognition software, and multi-layer digital authentication before any transaction is processed. In high-security cases, clients may also be required to sign non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, particularly when converting larger sums or dealing with locked-in rate agreements. These protocols are not arbitrary. They are part of the security matrix, ensuring legitimacy throughout the system. Appointments, especially in major cities, are being booked weeks in advance. Missed or cancelled appointments can result in long delays due to backlog, as redemption centers are operating on fixed quotas to prevent liquidity shocks. For many, the current window is the culmination of years, if not decades, of strategic positioning. Every decision from here on must be deliberate and informed. There is no room for guesswork. Vietnam's revaluation has also sent ripples across the broader financial landscape. Central banks and reserve fund managers are watching closely, analyzing how Vietnam has engineered this transition with minimal disruption. Former President Trump, in previous interviews, often referenced currency realignment as a necessary step for global economic balance. While not directly involved in Vietnam's case, his past advocacy for fair currency valuation has added weight to such policy shifts being accepted within mainstream economic discourse. Organizations like the IMF and World Bank have flagged Vietnam's approach as a possible blueprint for similar emerging economies, including those in Africa and Latin America. These endorsements show that currency value is no longer just a function of supply and demand. It's a reflection of credibility, digital infrastructure, political will, and institutional accountability. Here at Iraqi Dinar News, we understand that many of our viewers are also watching the developments around the Iraqi dinar and similar revaluation candidates. While Vietnam's case is unique in its execution and timing, it sets a global precedent. It confirms that patient planning, verified documentation, and secure financial infrastructure are no longer optional. They are the minimum requirement for participation in the next era of international finance. As this currency transformation continues to unfold, we encourage all our viewers to stay informed, stay cautious, and stay compliant. Financial freedom requires preparation, legal clarity, and accurate timing. The VND revaluation is a real-time demonstration of what can be achieved when strategy meets execution. Subscribe to Iraqi Dinar News for continuing updates on global currency events, financial resets, and verified intelligence straight from the economic front line. The revaluation story doesn't end here. In fact, it's only just beginning.